What up, world? R.I.C.H coming right back at you. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know how to start this one because we at a point in this society where nothing shocks us anymore. You read a headline like, Fat Joe accused of coercing his hype man into over 4,000 S-acts. And the first thing that crosses your mind isn't even if it's true. Nah, you just thinking, who next? We living in an era where accusations get more attention than facts, where headlines trump history, where a 157-page lawsuit filed over 20 years after the fact can destroy a man's name before he even gets a day in court. Now let me be clear right out the gate. I am not, I repeat, not a Fat Joe fan. I think the man talks too much. He said plenty of dumb shit online. His ego has been on display for years. So this ain't no defense of Fat Joe. But what we looking at right now, this lawsuit, this attempt to paint Fat Joe as some type of music industry predator, it's nothing short of outrageous. And that's putting it mildly. Because if you really read the document, if you really take the time to read what's being claimed, it ain't just that Fat Joe is being accused of wrongdoing. It's that the man pointing the finger was standing right there the whole time for over 17 years. And only now wants to claim that he's a victim. Let's start here. Terrence T.A. Dixon. He wasn't no temporary tour guy. He was in Joe's inner circle. I'm talking right-hand man. This man ain't just walking past the studio. He was in the studio. And now, after nearly 2 decades of partnership, he's suing for $20 million. He claims he was coerced into thousands of S-acts. Claims he was manipulated, intimidated, and controlled. He claims he didn't want to do it, but he was afraid he would lose his position. And I gotta stop right there. Because if you saying you did something over 4,000 times, but you never told a soul, never filed a report, then you wasn't just a participant, you was an accomplice. Now I'm not gonna sit here and act like psychological abuse ain't real. I know fear can be powerful. I know manipulation is a serious tool in toxic relationships. But 4,000 times? With dozens of women? In public settings? In hotel rooms? On tour? You mean to tell me this man had the power to coerce you into 4,000 SMICS acts, but you never found the power to call a lawyer until 2024?
Lord have mercy.
Let's just talk legal responsibility. You say you saw this man have relations with minors, 15 and 16 years old, and you didn't say anything until now? That's not victimhood. That's an accessory. And now you want to point the finger. Now you want to play innocent. You were not just a hype man. You was the cover man. And here's where it get real ugly. Fat Joe, for all his flaws, filed a lawsuit back in late April. He claimed Dixon and his attorney tried to extort him, that this was a setup, a move to shake him down. And all of a sudden, months later, here comes a 157-page civil lawsuit with a trigger warning. No criminal charges, no police indictments, just a lawsuit for $20 million. This is the game being played in entertainment right now. You don't need evidence, you just need a good writer, a sympathetic narrative, and a thirsty lawyer. These cases don't start in court. They start on Google Docs. And then boom, drop it on TMZ, drop it on X, drop it on Instagram, stir up the public, apply pressure, and pray they settle. And I'm tired of this trend. This new wave of people who spent years with someone, traveled the world, enjoyed the benefits, took the photos, shared the stages, then want to flip the script after the money dry up. Look, if somebody did you wrong, you got every right to seek justice. But if you were there, if you participated, if you benefited, if you co-signed, and then decades later you like, well, actually, I gotta question the motive. Not the pain, not the memory, the motive. Now let's talk Rock Nation. They've been named as a defendant in this too. Why? Because the lawsuit claims they should have known. Rock Nation ain't got nothing to do with this. This case, like so many others, is more than just the individuals involved. It's about the shift in our culture where the fame is both a blessing and a bullseye. Where every text you ever sent, every person you ever slept with, every conversation you ever had in private is now an exhibit in somebody's court case. And that's dangerous because people make mistakes. People do wrong. But when you start allowing partners in the wrong to flip and act like a victim, what are we doing here? I ain't saying Fat Joe is innocent. I ain't saying he's the victim. I ain't even saying he's a good person. What I'm saying is this. We got to be able to tell the difference between a victim and a partner, between a trauma survivor and a co-conspirator. T.A. Dixon was there too long. He saw too much, stayed too close, and waited too late. And if you got a story to tell, tell it. But tell the whole thing and be ready for what come back. Because you can't hide behind the lawsuit and act like you wasn't living that life too. In this game, in this era, in this culture, we need the truth, not just testimony. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe, R.I.C.H. I'll be back with another one. Peace.